This is the noon news from Montana's news leader.
Good afternoon. We're so glad you could join us today. I'm Aja Goare. Investigators say a 15-year-old suspect killed 2 students in a Tuesday shooting at a school in Kentucky. 14 others were shot. CBS's Adriana Diaz has more.
It still doesn't feel real. It doesn't feel like it actually happened.
Moments after arriving at school, teenagers were scrambling for cover as their fellow student began shooting.
It sounded like there was a fight. Someone was hitting on the window. I took out my headphones and turned around, and everyone was just broken up.
The school immediately went into lockdown, but some students had already fled the grounds.
I took off. I started running. I was just scared for my life.
5 shots fired, 4 down at the high school at Marshall.
Police arrived to the school just 7 minutes after the first 911 call. They quickly found the gunman and arrested him.
He was apprehended by the sheriff's department here on site at the school, thankfully before any more lives could be taken.
Frantic parents raced to the chaotic scene, hoping to find their children.
You don't think it's going to happen here, and like I said, as soon as you hear it, it's terrifying.
5 of the victims were airlifted to Vanderbilt University Medical Center in Nashville. Preston Ryan Cope died at the hospital. Bailey Nicole Holt was killed at the scene. They were both 15. Kentucky Governor Matt Bevin.
And this is a wound that is going to take a long time to heal. And for some in this community will never fully heal.
The shooter is expected to be charged with 2 counts of murder and multiple counts of attempted murder. The county attorney says those charges should come within the next 48 hours or so, and that he plans to try the 15-year-old as an adult. Adriana Diaz, CBS News, Benton, Kentucky.
5 victims remain hospitalized. All are expected to survive. At today's sentencing hearing for former Olympic gymnastics doctor Larry Nasser, the judge told him, "I just signed your death warrant." Applause broke out after Nasser was sentenced to 175 years in prison for multiple counts of sexual assault. More than 140 victims sexually abused by the disgraced doctor testified before the sentence came down. Many of those who testified said they were minors when the abuse occurred. The victim said USA Gymnastics and Michigan State University failed to report their concerns. Here in Montana, a Great Falls jury has cleared 2 officers of wrongdoing in a deadly police shooting last year. Officers Adam Sturgionis and Tad Kimmett shot and killed Thomas Addison in September. At the coroner's inquest Tuesday, the jury learned Addison had marijuana and methamphetamine in his system during the incident. Officers were called to the area for a reported burglary. Addison then took off running when police made contact and a chase ensued. The officers testified during that chase, Addison pulled something metallic from his pocket. Addison refused to show his hands, and the officers say they fired when Addison turned to face them. Addison was armed with a knife, but there was no gun. The jury deliberated for less than 30 minutes before reaching the verdict. Less than 1 year into his tenure, the Montana State Prison Warden has been fired. This comes just 10 months after Warden Michael Fletcher was appointed to the job in Deer Lodge. The department refusing to give a reason for Fletcher's termination, saying it's a confidential matter, but they did mention it comes before the end of his 12-month probationary period. We did confirm the Montana Department of Labor and Industry received an official complaint on the warden's office last year, but the details of that complaint weren't released. The Department of Corrections said Fletcher will be replaced by interim warden Jim Salmonson, who is an associate warden at the prison. A Billings man is dead after an accident Tuesday at a construction site on the Billings south side. The Yellowstone County coroner identified the victim as 39-year-old David Shepard. Fisher Construction is overseeing the work at South 29th Street and 1st Avenue South. On its Facebook page, the company states it's assisting with the investigation but cannot provide details at this time. An autopsy is set for later today. 2 students from Big Fork High School were injured during a field trip near Mariah's Pass while snowshoeing. The boy and girl were snowshoeing Tuesday in Glacier County, about 1 mile from U.S. Highway 2. The Flathead County Sheriff says a mass of hardened snow broke loose, causing them to fall 8 to 10 feet. The students were transported to Kalispell Regional Medical Center. Their current conditions are unknown. In other snow-related news, we turn to the weather scene with Brett, and we're checking in around the state.
That's right. Let's take a look at what's happening in Missoula right now, where they've got temperatures of 35. Seeing some breaks in the clouds. They've seen overcast skies for much of the morning. They do have some snow showers around the area there. As we head on over to Great Falls, 50 degrees right now. They've got southwest winds at 28 miles an hour. That's holding the temperatures up. Plenty of sunshine there. And as we take a look in Helena, 35 degrees. Winds are calm with sunshine. And here in Billings, we've got a little bit of a breeze, southwest at 17, and our temperature currently at 41. Temperatures are going to be into the 30s and 40s across the state. We'll have your complete forecast coming up in just a few minutes.
Thanks, Brett. We'll check back in. President Trump could soon face direct questioning about the firing of former FBI Director James Comey, as well as any possible collusion with Russia during the presidential election. CBS's Mola Lengi has the details.
President Trump could soon face questioning from special counsel Robert Mueller. The president's lawyers are negotiating how and when an interview with Mueller's team will happen, and a face-to-face interview is a definite possibility. Mueller appears to be focusing in on an obstruction of justice case centering around the firing of former FBI Director James Comey. Comey was fired last May. He has testified to Congress that while he led the FBI, the president asked him for a pledge of loyalty and asked him to help lift the cloud of suspicion surrounding the investigation into Russian interference in the election. Shortly after Comey's firing, the president asked acting FBI Director Andrew McCabe who he voted for in the election. McCabe reportedly told the president he didn't vote.
Jeff Sessions is the highest-ranking official to be interviewed in the Mueller investigation, but President Trump says he is not worried about what his attorney general had to say.
I'm not at all concerned. Thank you all very much.
Sessions recused himself from the Russia investigation after it was revealed he misled Congress about his own contacts with Russia's ambassador. He was also heavily involved in the decision to fire Comey.
I think the president has to be concerned. Certainly his lawyers have to be concerned.
Kim Whaley is a former federal prosecutor who was an independent counselor during the Whitewater investigation. She says the Mueller probe has already impacted the White House.
We have 2 guilty pleas and we have 2 indictments, and those are not even, the top people. So I think there has to be concern in the White House.
The White House insists President Trump has done nothing wrong. Mola Lengi, CBS News, the White House.
White House lawyers say they believe the Russia investigation will wrap up in the next 4 to 6 weeks. Members of the Colstrip community gathered to discuss the city's future and what will happen after half of the Colstrip power complex closes down. Units 1 and 2 face a shutdown in just 4 years. State Senator Dwayne Ankney arranged Tuesday's informal meeting among Colstrip community leaders to explore ideas on how to use the $10 million in community impact funds set aside by Puget Sound Energy. The energy company owns half of plants 1 and 2 and has agreed to put money aside to help Rosebud County, the city and region transition into its new future. Next Monday, Governor Steve Bullock and Attorney General Tim Fox will be in Colstrip to convene the first meeting of the Colstrip Advisory Group. It will be the first of many discussions to address the region's changing economic landscape. A recently released report shows the number of homeless people in Montana is on the rise. According to the 2017 annual homeless assessment report, over 1,500 people are on the streets and in shelters here in Montana. That number includes 205 veterans, 106 teenagers, and 542 families. The report shows homelessness grew 8% from 2016 to 2017 in Montana. Missoula's Reaching Homes joined forces with other local agencies to present an update on their plan to solve homelessness in Missoula. The plan launched in 2012 and it's currently in stage 2, building a coordinating system. Now, this means streamlining social services to reduce duplications of housing and service providers, as well as addressing addiction. Still ahead on the noon news, children become the target of an ISIS attack in the Middle East. We'll take you there. But first, Brett has our weather forecast. Stay tuned.
You're watching MTN News with Aja Goare, Storm Tracker weather with Ed McIntosh, and farm and ranch news from the Northern Egg Network. This is the